This engine blew up on me at about 7,000 miles on the odometer. I put 4,000 miles under my ownership. This didn't actually fail at the track like everyone thinks it did. No, I wasn't beating the crap out of this car. I just took it to Angeles Crest Highway. When we went up, everything was fine. As we came down, everything was fine. I parked it at Panera Bread by the Target and we went out for lunch. An hour later, I came back to the car and it would not start. I thought it was the battery. We checked the battery was completely green, so that wasn't it. So I called OnStar and they facilitated a tow truck to come pick me up. When the tow truck arrived, we had another problem because we couldn't put the car in neutral to be able to roll it up the tow truck. What happens is in these cars, you have to turn on the engine for it to be able to shift to neutral. There's no neutral release or anything like that. The only way you could release it is take apart the trunk of the car, access the transmission, and use a special tool that's provided by Chevy to be able to put the car in neutral so you can push it. This tool costs around $200 and obviously I didn't have it on me. So what the tow truck driver did was, so he provided skates. He put the skates underneath the car and he was able to drag it up onto the tow truck. The nearest dealer to me at the time was Covina Chevrolet. We towed it to that dealership, left it there that evening, and I ended up getting a hotel room so I could stay nearby and figure out what to do the next morning when they diagnosed the car. So turns out they checked all the electrical components, they checked the starter, everything was fine. What the GM tech did was he tried to hand crank the engine to see if it would turn over, and he said that it would turn, but there was a lot of feedback and it felt a little bit rough. So then he proceeded to check the oil and the oil filter, and it turns out there's a bunch of metal inside the oil and the oil filter. The GM tech at Covina Chevrolet sent the photos and video of the metal fragments inside the oil filter to GM corporate, so that's when they authorized a new engine replacement. From the time of my last track day until I went on the canyon drive was about 2 weeks. And that morning, the car started up just fine. It drove just fine. It drove down just fine. Shut it off for an hour, and that's when it failed, when I turned it back on. Now I have a car with about 7,500 miles or so. I put a few hundred on since the engine was replaced. So maybe it's about 8,000 now. It's got a brand new engine. I mean, that's kind of cool because now I have a little bit more extended warranty on the new engine. So I should be able to drive this stress-free. But in the end of the day, it's still in the back of my mind that this engine was replaced. And at such low mileage, that makes me question GM's reliability, especially when you really drive this car as it's intended. So now I'm working with corporate to figure out if there's anything they can do for me, any goodwill. So I'll let you guys know once I get any updates on that. This is a Z06 with a Z07 package. I purchased it about 4 months ago. In the 4 months that I owned it, I took it to 2.5 track days. The very first day was at Buttonwillow. The other 2 track days was a double header I hosted with my friend Nick at Tamale Track Days here. So the second day was clockwise, and that's when I really pushed the car. With the new Nanking CRSs, I ended up doing a 155 flat almost, but that track day was a day that it solidified my love for this car. So I bought this car for 4 reasons. One, the sound, it sounds insane. Yeah, it's no 458. A lot of people compare it to the Ferrari 458. It doesn't sound exactly like that, but the flat plane crank V8 is to die for. Number 2, the performance. The horsepower, the torque with the dual clutch transmission, the lap times I'm putting out, I'm not fast or good by any means. My laps are super sloppy, but I have a lot of fun. And in this car, I am just as fast as I am in my GT3 RS, so I can't complain. Number 3 is the price. $120,000 is what I paid for this car. You can get them now for much cheaper. I got the Z07 package, so it's a little bit more expensive, but for that price and the performance, you can't beat that. And lastly, I got it for the warranty. And in my GT4 RS and my GT3 RS, the rear window cracked. I didn't impact anything. I think what happened was when I go in track and the windows down, even on the streets with the windows down and you're going pretty fast, this creates this huge turbulent flow of air, and I think it just ends up cracking the rear window. And also the quarter window cracked on my GT3 RS. So both of that cost around almost $10,000 or $12,000 to replace. So that was one of the main reasons I sold the car, was it didn't have a warranty anymore. I was afraid that if I blew the engine on track, that would be an expensive fix. I think it's like $60,000 for a used engine, about $100 or $120 for a new one. And this car, for an engine replacement that's out of warranty, is about $15,000 if you return the core. I mean, one of the main reasons I bought this car was for the warranty, but I really had no expectation that it was going to fail, and such a catastrophic failure this early in the car. I thought it was just going to protect, electronics, etc. So that was a shocking surprise to me. I mean, I do have a little bad taste in my mouth with GM right now. But that being said, my GT4 that I ordered brand new a couple years ago also had an engine replacement. There was a recall, and that was done at the port. So it happens, I understand, but that was a manufacturer defect that affected numerous cars, and this seems like a one-off. I did see some threads on Corvette forums with some engine failures, but there's no bulletin that's saying a bunch of engines are failed. So this seems to be like a one-off quality control issue maybe. So where does that put me now? Do I still love the car? Absolutely. The performance is there. I'm able to put down track times bone stock practically, whereas my GT4 RS and my GT3 RSs, surfaces were modified and set up perfectly for the track. And here I just got in this car, put on new tires, got a track alignment, and just went, and I was able to get the same times as my GT3 RS, and I was on track to beat it. My next track day is Buttonwillow, March 13th, and the one after that is going to be April 6th at Checkwalla. And I got new Nankang CRSs for this car now, so at Buttonwillow I think I should be able to put down a solid 156, 155 maybe, and at Checkwalla in April I'm hoping to break into 153, 154 in this car. And a lot of people have asked me, how does this compare to a Porsche? How does it compare to your GT3 or GT4 RSs? In comparison to my GT4 RS, how does this drive? Well, it's heavier. You definitely don't feel the weight though. It hides it really well because of the power. The driving dynamics of the car, the way it turns, the way it enters corners and exit corners, it feels just like a GT4 RS. And the dual clutch transmission feels just like PDK. Where this thing differs a lot from the GT4 RS and the 991.2 GT3 RS is the steering and the brakes. This car has brake-by-wire, so it's all electronic. I mean, there's still a physical brake booster that controls the brakes. Everything else is controlled by the computer. And when you first slam on the brakes in this car, you have zero feedback. You don't feel any pedal pushback. I mean, there is simulated pushback, but it's not very accurate. A lot of people describe it as driving a simulator. I call it brake by prayer because you just slam on the brakes and you pray that it's gonna stop. I mean, you know it's gonna stop, but because you don't have that feel, that feedback, you kind of don't know that it's gonna stop. So it took me about a full few laps to up to a session to be able to figure out how the brakes are on this car, and after I got used to it, I was perfectly fine with it. The most jarring thing about the brakes is when ABS kicks in. In a Porsche or any other car with normal hydraulic brakes, when you slam on the brake and ABS kicks in, you can feel the pushback and the feedback from the brakes. You can feel the pulsating. Here, you don't feel any pulsating. So you slam on the brakes and the car just doesn't stop. And then you notice on the dash, there's a little blinking light that says ABS activated. So that's the only time you know when ABS is on, is from the light in the dash. And honestly, I tell everybody who asks me, you cannot beat the performance in this car for the price. Now don't get me wrong, if you have a 911 or GT4 RS, I wouldn't sell that car to buy this car, okay? You already have a good track weapon. I would just run with that. But if you don't have a Porsche and you're looking into getting something like a GT4 RS, I would definitely consider this car. The only thing that this car does bad at is just the resale factor. Yeah, they make a lot of Corvettes, so the prices are gonna tank on this. Yes, you could buy a GT4 RS for about $170,000 to $220,000, but you're also gonna be beating the crap out of that really nice PTS, highly spec'd car, when you can just get this one for $100,000, where you can beat the crap out of this car, enjoy it, have a full warranty. My last video was an introduction to this car, and at the time I didn't take it to the track yet, so I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I kind of had an idea the performance was good. I kind of had an idea of what everyone's telling me. But once I took it to the track, that's when it really made me confident about how great this car is. So, quickly to summarize, I bought this car for 4 reasons: the cost, the performance, the sound, and the warranty. And so far, it nails every single one of those points, especially the warranty, because the engine failed. But all in all, this car is so much fun on the track. The power, the torque. If you've seen my other driving videos of this on the track, you can just see I'm having tons of fun. So that's it. I just wanted to give you guys an update on my car in the past 4 months of ownership. I'm definitely making more videos in the future comparing this to Porsches, how this drives on the track, everything about the ownership of this vehicle compared to the ownership of the Porsche. So stay tuned for that. Okay, thanks a lot everyone. See you later.